to the Charolais Chatter podcast with Kerry Clift and Mitch Benish. Now here are your hosts, Kerry and Mitch.
Here we go, season 2, episode 11 already. And boy, do we have some special guests from the state of Montana with us today, Brett Debruyker and Kessler Martin. Welcome, guys, to the Charolais Chatter.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We appreciate it.
Yep, we're going to have a lot of fun. So before that, Mitch and I have to cover a little bet that was made on the last episode. So, Mitch, was that who's going to make it to the furthest in the Final Four of our NCAA tournament? And I picked Gonzaga, and it didn't fare too well on the last game. We lost by, I think, was it 5 points ish?
50.
Well, oh, come on.
Closer to. It was horrible.
I just,
that was horrible.
And you picked Creighton, and the young lady from Transova picked, what was it, Houston, right? Mm-hmm. And none of us made it to the final four. So I don't know who actually won the bet.
I would say I won because you technically said whoever's in the tournament the longest, which was Creighton.
Yeah, but you didn't play till Sunday, where I played Saturday and lost on Saturday.
Okay,
right?
So if you say, hey, okay, we tie, we arguably, since Creighton only lost by 1 point.
1 point.
And I would actually say that was pretty controversial.
At 1 point it was, yeah.
Well, the last 2 calls by the rest were, I mean, one was like, okay, that might have been a foul, but the one where there was another half a second on the clock when the ball went out of bounds. Come on, you can't call the game a 1 point game right there. Let them throw it in. They probably weren't going to make it, but
see, the Gonzaga game was close like that. I think there was bad calls. It should have been a lot closer.
I don't know if you can make up those 30 points.
Anyway, we're all out. Nobody won. It sucked, man. But we had a fun run up to that, didn't we? So
yeah.
Well, why don't you give us a little hay report that you saw at the local auction last week?
Yeah, so I had taken in a few summerborn crossbred calves, and I didn't pay much. I didn't pay much attention. Usually, they got a Facebook page that lists, kind of some of their hay consignments. They run it's mainly for the small animal or maybe the horse people. They have a hay auction, and there is some cattle people that do buy with some smaller herds, but they have a hay auction an hour before the cattle auction, and normally they'll get, 4 or 5 piles of square bales and about 20 in a pile, enough to, people can throw in their truck after they get done buying it or trailer, and then maybe sometimes a couple round bales, but when we got close, I was like, holy cow, is there a farm sale there? Because there was a crowd of people like 30 minutes before this hay sale started. And the amount of hay that was there was crazy, which I thought was weird. But then after I got the report from the sale barn owner, Tyler Sudik, Wahoo Livestock Sales, I figured out why, because the hay market was hot. I think everybody in our area is running out of hay. Our winter was just bad enough to maybe, use up pretty much everybody's reserves. But a lot of those small animal people don't keep much of a reserve anyways. They kind of go from month to month or week to week. But anyways.
So what would a big round bale last a little rabbit or chinchilla? Would that be like a year's supply?
Maybe 3.
Okay.
These would be mostly
small.
No, there's a lot of sheep and goats in our area, and then because Wahoo is right in between Lincoln and Omaha, so there's a lot of acreages. So you got people that own 5-10 acres, and they'll have sheep, goats, horses, whatever the case may be. So, but the round bales of grass, which I didn't see too many there that it was super high quality, nothing that was shedded or anything like that. But that was 125 to 145 a ton, which puts it probably almost over $200 a ton for that.
125 a bale and then 200 a ton. that right?
It was 125 a bale. They just sold it
Yeah.
by the bale, but that puts it
Okay.
at probably because they're about 1,200-pound bales,
Okay,
12 to
so
1,400
220 a
pounds.
ton. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and then alfalfa was 140 to 150, which that's about what the feedlots are paying. But like I said, I didn't see anything that was of real great quality there. So, but then the small alfalfa, 60 to 80 pounds. I don't know how many 80-pound bales I would have seen there, but maybe some of it was a little on the greener side. So maybe it weighed up, but they were 850 to 1050. And then small grass prairie hay bales was 6 to 9, which I would say that's probably not up a bunch from what it was, but it's going to just here in the next month to 2 months is going to creep higher. Cause like I said before, we don't get green grass here till May 1st. It
Oh, wow.
starts to look pretty good. I mean, it's starting to try and green up, but we had, what was it? Saturday night. They said, oh, there's a chance, 30% chance of some light flurries. Well, we got 6 inches of snow.
Wow.
It all melted the next day. It was great to have the moisture because, I mean, we are still depleted. One of my landlords, I bought some hay from them. I just buy it kind of as a courtesy. I don't really need the hay, but they don't have to worry about it. And then when my cows get out and eat part of the bales,
Right.
I don't have to feel so bad either because I already own them. But I was loading up some hay there, and we had talked about the snow and people complaining about it. And he goes, we're going to need some rain. Otherwise, you're going to be hauling water all summer. I'm like, crap. That is, he said that one dam, they called it Frog Pond or something. I don't know. He said that one's got a little water in it, but it ain't going to last long. And I'm like, yeah. So
well, this might contribute to some record high cattle prices right now, huh? Drought in other areas, and
it's all going hand in hand, just like Chad Berger said, high grain prices, high cattle prices, I've heard some amateur type market analysts, maybe even call them armchair market analysts, guys that think they know a lot. Oh, that $7 corn is going to drive the cattle prices down. No, it's not gonna. And that's not what it does. But anyway, so
alfalfa, it's been crazy here. The Timothy market's really softened here because of the export deal, and so it's going to be interesting to see what it kind of continues through the summer into this fall. But alfalfa looks pretty steady going into this next season. So,
yeah.
But with that, let's introduce our guests and get a load of their program and upcoming sale and all fun stuff to the Debruyker Charolais in Dutton, Montana. So I got to ask this. So do you think this is where the Yellowstone TV show got the Dutton name? Do you think it was originally from the town, or you're the original Duttons, right?
It has to be, no doubt about it.
So are you guys getting any, money kickback on this deal? Is Kevin Costner, some of these guys giving you a little bit of?
Yeah, Kevin was over last weekend, and we had dinner. And
it is funny. So I'll tell you a story, and this one's actually true. So a friend of mine who's has a band in Oregon, his name's Kurt Van Meter. So he's been playing music for Cole Hauser, who plays Rip on Yellowstone, and so they became pretty good buddies. Well, anyway, I'm like, well, tell him to come up to our Ellensburg rodeo this fall, Labor Day. And he goes, all right. So supposedly Cole Hauser is going to come up to our rodeo, which is our 100th anniversary. So we'll see if it happens or not. But he might be filming at the big Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. So, but I'm sure that's had an impact for you guys, hasn't it? So
that 80-acre ranch.
Yeah, that's that what it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Yeah. Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
I think that where it's filmed, that's the place is about 80 acres in that barn.
Wow.
not 8,000 like they make it look like.
Or
Yeah,
what is
80,000.
it? Yeah, 80,000.
80,000.
Yeah. Well, they've told a story.
Everyone on that cast, I think, owns a place in Montana now. So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure your guys' rate per acre has gone up quite a bit here in the last cost per acre, rate per acre, but cost per acre has gone up quite a bit here in the last couple of years since that TV show, especially in central Montana.
Yeah, there's more demand for places in Montana, no doubt about it.
Well, and you got idiot ran states like California and Oregon, and even our state. There, people want to get out of them. So, yep, can understand. So, but Brett, how about let's talk about before we get into your bull set. Let's talk about your family operation and how it got started and what towns it's all in besides Dutton, Montana. But let's start from the beginning. What's your 1883 version of Debruyker Farms?
You want me to go all the way back to as far as I know?
Yep,
Absolutely.
Yep. Let's do it. Yep.
Well, my grandfather Aishel came over to Montana from Belgium in the early 19s, like 1915 or 18, somewhere in there. And real quick story about that. My great grandfather, his name was Henry. When they left the old country, they asked a priest where they should go in Montana. And the guy said, well, you need to get to Valier, Montana. That's some really good country. And Valier is about 60 miles to the north of us. And it's good farming country and good ranch country, but it can get pretty tough in the winter. And supposedly by the time they arrived in the middle of January, it was like January 20th or something like that. And it was about 30 below with about a 40-mile-an-hour wind. My great grandfather, if he could have got his hands on that priest, he'd have killed him.
Left a part out.
Yeah. But anyway, so they moved to Montana, around that 1915 or 18, somewhere in there. And my grandfather went to farming, had homesteaded a place, and had 4 boys. The second boy was my father, Lloyd.
Mm-hmm.
And Lloyd, when he was growing up in school, he always liked to say how he was graduated second in his class. And turned out later on, I found out there's only 2 of them.
That sounds like a Carrie Cliff move there.
Yeah, it is right there. That is right on.
But
page out of my book.
He was, in all seriousness, he was voted. I think in his senior year in the annual, he was voted to be the person to have 100,000 cattle. So
wow!
Obviously, he had been talking about cattle his entire life, and
totally
his friends knew he loved cattle, and so he married my mom not too long after high school, and they started having children and started developing a place. And around 1958, he was born in 1933,
mm-hmm.
and in 1958 they had a small farm, and he was working in town, and they had, I think, 3 of their 7 children at that point in time. And he used a Charolais bull on some commercial black baldy cows and some red baldy cows. And he said he liked the calves so darn much, he decided he needed to get into the industry.
Wow.
And in 1963, him and Mom bought their first half-blood Charolais heifers, because you couldn't get purebreds at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And bought their first half-blood Charolais heifers and started breeding them up. And I could tell you more. I guess let me know what you want to know, but that's kind of the beginnings of her. So
that's so that'd be the 1883, 1923 version. So now it catches up to where you're at in the last 2-3 generations of family members. So
And so then Mom and Dad had 7 kids. I'm second to the youngest, and there's 2 boys, my brother Mark and I, and then there's 5 girls. And all of us are involved in the operation in some way.
Wow.
My oldest sister, who is an accountant by trade, she's a professor in a university, but she has some cows on the place. And then my brother Mark, who's heavily vested in the operation. My sister Kathy and her husband Joe Campbell, they're a mainstay in the operation. Jackie, she does all of our books, and her son Kaylor are on the place now and raising Charolais bulls for us.
Wow.
And then my sister Kelly, her son Kessler is on the phone or on the call with us today.
Right on.
And his brother Cutter, they really like the Charolais cows and are becoming a part of it too. And then myself, I have 4 daughters, and they're still pretty young yet, haven't decided what they're going to do yet.
Mhm.
And then my little sister Jody, she helps us with all our advertising. So when I say it's a family operation, it's really a family operation.
That is amazing, and everybody gets along. This is good.
Not every day is a bunch as rose colored, but yeah, we get along most of the time.
That's amazing feat in itself. I only have one sib, so we have to get along. So
we're really fortunate. My mom and dad were raised us to even if you don't like each other, you still gotta love each other. So.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. So cattle, is it all purebred Charolais, or do you have a commercial herd too?
Basically it's purebred Charolais. Through the years, we've brought in a few commercial cows now and again, just basically, depending on the market, if we felt like we could, make some doing it or not. So that's not our mainstay though.
Okay. And then you have a farm also, correct?
We also farm. We have dryland winter wheat, hard red winter wheat. We have dryland malt barley and some pulse crops, and then we have some irrigation under pivots and flood irrigation, where mostly we raise either hard red spring wheat or malt barley for InBev or Anheuser-Busch.
Now we're talking. Yep.
Yeah. And then we also raise quite a bit of hay, alfalfa hay and wild grass hay. So it keeps us out of trouble most days.
It is. So Mitch and I have always talked, obviously we put up square bales, 3x4s, 4x4s, or 3-stringers in our area. And then Mitch has a lot of round bales. So what does your area do as far as bales? Just out of curiosity.
I would say we're probably about 2/3 round bales. And the alfalfa will probably weigh around 1,300 pounds a bale, give or take. And then we're about 1/3, what is it, Kessler? Is it 3x3s?
4x4s, they're big. Yeah. Like 1,900 pound squares.
Yeah, those will be 4x4s. Yeah.
And but most of that typically gets shipped out of the area to Idaho to the dairies or something like that.
Okay.
In this last year to 2 years, we've been under a real big drought, and so most of the hay that's been produced here has been staying here.
Okay. That you bring a good one up. When the hay price in our area, feeder hay price, really went up was 2 years ago, because a lot of hay was leaving our area and going to your area. And I mean, there was trucks after trucks going into northern Montana and I think believe into Wyoming. So then all of a sudden our feeder hay prices went up about $100 just because it was getting shipped to other areas. I mean, so we were trucking a lot of hay from Washington to Montana a couple years ago. So just to feed everything.
I got a couple hate questions. What do you guys run for equipment, and like I'm assuming you're not just running one windrow or one baler. I mean, what are you guys running there as far as equipment wise?
Mostly we've got round balers on the place, and it's either John Deere or New Holland. And what do we got, Kessler? Probably between the whole family, we probably got 4 or 5 round balers. And the tractors mostly are John Deere, and John Deere's, both John Deere and Case have a pretty good dealerships here in this area. So it kind of, you know what it's like. You grow up in it, and you bleed that color, right?
You do. Right. I used to sell John Deere, and believe it or not, I bought a New Holland tractor last year. So, and boy, I've taken some heat over that with some friends, but there were some reasons. But in the fertilizer world that I'm in, we do run John Deere sprayers, and they are probably one of the best on the market, in my opinion. But John Deere does a good job. So, well, that's one heck of an operation. So before we get into your bull sale, let's just talk about the climate that these cattle are fed and our bulls are developed, and that's something Mitch and I've talked quite a bit, with other people. It's just the differences. We talked to Zenderwaggy in Minnesota was a couple weeks ago, and their climate. So what is your feeding period time frame on your cows, and how are these bulls developed in, what kind of climate are they dealing with?
We're a fairly dry area here. They say that our average moisture in a 12-month period is around 12 inches, but truth be told, I don't think most of the area that we operate in gets that. There's been plenty of years in the last 10 where we've probably gotten close to 6 or 7 total inches of moisture.
Wow.
And in the last, 2022, I don't know if we had 4 or 5 inches total. But so we're a fairly dry area. We kind of get shaded by the mountains here. The Rocky Mountains, we're only about 30 miles away from the Rocky Mountain front. And so a lot of times those storms will start coming over the mountain, and they'll just skip right over us for some reason. When we get our best moisture is when it comes from the east of us. Then we get an east wind, and it stacks the clouds up against the mountains.
Well, be that. So in the winter, you'll get down in the -20s quite often, correct? In your neck of the woods.
So. Yeah, we get some Chinook winds that help blow that out of here. But yeah, no, it's not atypical to get -20, -30 degrees. That's for sure.
And then snowfall through the winter. You snowed in 3-4 months out of the year.
It just depends on the year, Kerry. This year we've had some moisture. We've had some white snow pretty much all winter long, other than January. January was wide open and brown all month. But otherwise, we've been pretty white pretty much every day.
Well, I think we've painted a pretty good picture of, for going right into what your bull sale's about and, the program. And there's a lot of history here. And so with that, let's go into your bull sale. So April 1st. So you picked it on April Fool's Day. So I'm just want to let you know if there's a holiday, this is my favorite holiday. And Christmas, Thanksgiving. So I gotta tell you, there was a gentleman that I actually worked at, John Deere, and he was giving me a bad time, and so I decided to pull a April Fool prank on him. And this is an example of going a little too far. So he actually had a yard sale at his house, unbeknownst to him, on April 1st that morning, and it had shop tools and kids' clothes. He was moving, unbeknownst to him. But there was an ad in the paper, several papers, and then some online stuff, and then actually we went out at 3:00 in the morning and put yard sale signs. So he woke up to people knocking on his door at 6 a.m. to a yard sale that he wasn't having. And let me tell you, he had a lot of choice words for me, and actually he gave my phone number to some people that showed up that drove like 45 minutes to get there, and they weren't real happy at me about this whole deal. April 1st, but
when you pull an April Fool's, you do it all the way, huh?
Oh, and there's some other ones, but I don't know if we can say them on air. This was the most cleanest one I've done. But so if you ever want to get somebody in April Fool's, but your bull sale is April 1st, and it is not a joke. It is happening April 1st, this Saturday. So
we always have our bull sale on the first Saturday of April every year, whether it's the day before Easter or April Fool's. That's when the sale is.
Yeah, excellent. So let's talk about your bull sale. How many of them critters are you selling this year?
So we've got 672 in the catalog. So
that's it. Just a few.
Just a couple, yeah.
So we were talking a little bit before. It is the biggest Charolais bull sale, and also one of the biggest of all breeds in the U.S. And this is epic. And I don't know how you guys can video 671 of those guys. Yeah, and that is, what does it take you? 3 weeks to video these things? I mean,
yeah,
I leave that up to Kessler, so he better.
Okay,
I think that's what most people expect, and that's I think what most filmers think. But
yeah,
we can roll through about anywhere from 190 to 230 a day.
Holy cow!
Yeah. This year we did it in 3.5 days or 3.25 days, and there was one year when we did I think we had 525 cataloged, and we did it in 2 days.
Oh
wow.
My God.
So I videoed mine, and I know what that entails, walking along with the bulls and stuff. I mean, so how many sets of legs are you wearing out of people in this process? I mean, you got to be in shape after this thing. So
Yeah. Basically mine, Brett's, and 2 other guys, all 4 days, 3-4 days.
Really?
Wow.
You dropped
Yeah,
10 pounds?
Yeah, you feel pretty exhausted at the end of it.
Wow. Well, it's just amazing because I know what it takes to put on a bull sale and to put together a catalog in a way smaller fashion.
I want to know who edits them. That's the worst. That
Yeah.
I do my own pictures and videos for the 2 sales we have, and that in itself can be a royal pain in the.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
We work with Superior Livestock Auction, and they've got a guy that does all the editing, and he does a real nice job. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is where it's going to be on live. We'll be on Superior. Okay.
That's correct. On Superior Click to Bid and also on RFD TV.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Oh, nice.
And then the sale is at where is you have a sale facility? And
we take the bulls into the local auction barn called Western Livestock Auction near Great Falls, Montana.
Okay. And what time is your sale on Saturday?
It'll start at 11 a.m. and sharp, and we'll get over hopefully by around 5 p.m.
You run 670 some bulls. Are you, and I've watched part of it. So sometimes you run them in threes, or are they all singles, or how do you do that?
So we'll rattle through about 100 an hour approximately. And back in the day, we used to run 3 or 4 in the ring at a time, and then we'd sell pick. Since after COVID and stuff like that, and we had quite a few more people online, we've had to start selling just one at a time and in catalog order. But we don't waste any time. If the bid's there, it's there. Otherwise, we just keep rolling.
Wow, that is crazy. So without naming names, where all states are you selling bulls into? I mean, how far, or where's the big states that they're going?
Washington and Oregon, we sell quite a few bulls out there. And then Nevada, we got a big customer list there. Quite a few down into Texas and New Mexico. Colorado's getting to be a bigger and bigger customer list every year. We've sent bulls clear out to New York before, and even down into the tip of Florida. So
wow.
West Virginia, we've got some good customers in West Virginia.
Yeah. Well, and the Nish family was just here, and I heard they sent some up to you sent some up to Canada. So the
Burke Nish, the family there from Canada, longtime customers and longtime friends. We're very fortunate to have them as friends and customers.
That is great. This is a heck of a feat. So how about Mitch? Let's start talking about so we decided to highlight some lots, and so I'm going to tell on myself on this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, Brett, why don't you just pick up your top 10? And then after I said that, I'm like, that is probably one of the dumbest things I've said. And I've said a lot of dumb things, but trust me, I'm like, oh yeah, just randomly go out, pick out, take top 10 out of 671 bulls. But I got to tell you, you sent me some videos, and these guys are good. So I'm going to make a deer sale one of these days. This is a hard time of year because all the fertilizer going on the ground and spring work. So, but your sales on my bucket list, my friend, and we're going to make it out there because I want to go through 671 bulls. I want to be that guy and goes through them. And
we'd love to have you, Kerry and Mitch. Thank you very much. And as far as the bulls that we sent you, I can't take the credit for it. Kessler's the one that got those picked out for you. Good
job, Kessler. So I can't compare to a whole lot of them, but the ones you sent me, I'm like, okay, yeah, we can talk about that one. Ooh, look at that one. So we got some fun stuff to talk about, but we'll talk about sire families and probably some other stuff. One other little plug before we get into these bulls. I want to talk about some heifers that you put on a show road here probably 4 or 5 years ago, and I got to compete against those girls at the Nile, and I got to tell you, these girls were beautiful. And the Roberts family, I believe, grabbed them for you and took them to the Billings and Denver, and for them to go pick out of how many heifers there was. I remember they told me, but I can't remember what it was. But beautiful pair of heifers that they were parading around, and they look superb coming from your program. So
thank you very much. They did a great job. We appreciated working with them, and I remember the heifers. They did it for 2 or 3 years in a row, and I appreciate the kind words. Thank you.
No, they were beautiful.
What are them heifers sold in Denver then? A couple of them as breds?
Correct. Yeah,
Yep,
that's right.
that's what I seen them in Denver too. A couple of them, yeah, they were pretty good, and that kind of goes back to a little bit what I think when I hear people say nowadays, "Oh, I gotta find something to breed to." And I'm most specifically talking about the show breeding. Those heifers were probably related to no other show heifers on the road.
Oh no.
It looked as good, if not better, than 90% of them. And but I think sometimes these people that are raising show heifers or maybe even showing heifers, they're not as I don't know, I would say fluent in the Charolais breed as far as breeders go. They might not know there's people like you that got some darn good looking bulls that there would be no breeding whatsoever to, all the stuff out there that's really clicking. But that just goes to show that, you got to keep your options open and do as much homework as you can. Because, I mean, there's, as far as I'm concerned, there's good looking bulls in everyone's sale, no matter what their goal is. So I mean, you can sort through 670 bulls and probably find a good handful of good looking ones. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, let's start out with the lot 111 bull to talk about. And I got to make this print a little bigger so I can read it. There we go. Because I'm blind. So, but if we can talk about a little bit of highlights on him, Kessler, and then we'll can add into that.
Yeah, I looked through my catalog and I think I have the same notes, on most our bulls. They all deep and stout, and Brett and I have talked about it. It seems like we write down the same thing on all these bulls. Sure. But on him, he's just a big, deep, stout bull with tons of length of body. And then on his mom's side, that Juris, or no, was it, what am I looking at? We're on 111. I was thinking, yep. Looking at 110.
Yep, 111.
Yeah, he's just about as square made bull as you can find with a big wide top on him.
Yeah, when you look at his average daily gain of a 4.04 and got some really good number. I mean, moderate birth weight of 86 and that adjusted weaning weight of 856 with 110 index. I mean, he's got a lot of numbers, but what a good hip bull from what I can see. Clean through that front end, right, smooth shouldered, and a lot of extra rib, and he travels phenomenally. So
yeah, he might have one of the prettiest heads, out there. Just a nice small head on him.
Yep. So he's out of a bull you call Titan. So what is Titan's story?
So Titan actually, so his sire Shark was a really good bull that we used for a few years, AIing.
Yep.
And then Brett also walked him on the cows, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
And Titan, he was what, 7, 8, 9 back in the sire group?
Yeah, no, he wasn't the leadoff bull in that sire group out of Sharks that year, and he's just doing a real nice job. The one thing I'd throw in, Kerry, is both Shark. You some of our past history, like Alley Mark and Cigar, those old time bloodlines from clear back in the 90s. And anyway, Trademark, and he came out of Alley Mark, out of a Mr. Perfect daughter. Both Shark, we're a pretty line bred program. And Shark is a great grandson of Trademark, if I remember right. And then that I-Mark cow on the top side there, she's also a Trademark granddaughter.
Okay.
So, that just so you understand the program, I guess.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. Like when you go to breed these cows, I'm like, how in the world do you keep track of them so that you're not mating up to sister and brother? But it might happen that way with that many. Huh? But
it can happen.
They're pretty good, pretty closely bred group. But he's a really nice looking bull that with some good numbers and
high index.
He does a high index and 38 scrotal. So you should name him. Let's call him Fred. How about
Fred?
Yeah. But when in doubt, the good one's named Fred.
Sounds good.
So well, hopefully Fred, a lot of 111 sells for a lot of money on sale day. So look him up on April 1st, lot 111. So let's go on to lot 113. Who is another Titan son, it looks like.
Yeah, so 113, he's just like 111, the same type of bull, but 113, I don't know, maybe I'm out of line saying it, but he might be one of the best bulls, to maybe sell this spring in the Charolais breed.
Perfect. No, that's good. Well, you look at his numbers again with the 858 adjusted wean and weight, a 92 birth. He son of Titan, a February born, got a 40 centimeter scrotal, but look at him. He's out of a Ledger daughter. So there is a little outcross blood in there. So you did that.
Yeah, and I've seen the cow. She's got a great udder on her with, real nice bag on her with plenty of milk. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good bull. So Mitch, I'll let you name this one. That's lot 113.
I don't know what to call him. I would say lead, maybe just good for the Ledger, but
that's a good one. I like that.
You're starting to see more of the really good bulls, maybe as these Ledger daughters are getting to getting into production.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks like she's just a 3-year-old, and but I think sometimes, like I said before, it takes a few years before you figure out. Now Ledger's quite a few years old already by now, but sometimes that's what it takes in the Charolais breed to just figure out how that stuff really clicks and what does not work. So definitely the handful of sales that I've watched this year, a lot of Ledger daughters are kind of making their way to the front with some bulls. So
And this Titan son, he's real deep bodied too.
Yeah, and then on the dam's bottom side too, that Durban Brett might know better. Maybe it's 5-6 years ago. That Durban bull was, he was just a walking herd sire for us, and he just made great bull calves after great bull calves year in year out.
Even better, I would say, Kessler, the Durban daughters are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
That bull should make some really, really great females.
Good. So he's got the package on the female side. So
I think so.
Perfect. Awesome. That was lot 113. It came up on April 1st. So let's go do lot 148, which is a tank son. So I think I can speak highly on the tank bull of there's a lot of calves in the world of the Charolais world right now that are they're out of tank. So actually winning in show rings too. So here's a direct son of tank from the breeder of him, and look at the 4.32 average daily gain and 1430 on the final weight. So this is great numbers.
And then there again on the mom's bottom side is that Durban cow again. Yeah, so Brett's right, that Durban.
I'd jump in there, Kerry, and tell you a little bit about Tank. We raised him, and he was just a really, really good looking bull when we sold him that spring. Eaton Charolais came up, and he was the pick out of about 600 bulls that year, and was the high seller.
Yep.
And we went right away using him on heifers because we want to find out right away if a bull can be used, how he calves and how he does. And he turned out to be one of the better calving bulls in the entire Charolais breed. I think lots of guys are using them on heifers and, they're young cows. And along with that came the feedlot performance.
Yes.
Not only going in there and calving well for guys and even on heifers, but those calves out of those daughters all throughout the breed are going into gain tests and typically topping the gain tests. So we're pretty proud of what Tank has done for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've got some real top sons of his this year to offer as well.
Well, I think, not only the show ring, but he's hitting the carcass merits. And that's a hard balance to be able to do both. There's one thing I forgot to mention, and I just learned this today, that you guys have an app that you can put on your phone, which is extremely impressive. So you can, you can download this app on your phone and access a lot of this information and these videos. Pretty impressive that you can do all that just with a click of a button. So
yeah, thanks for bringing that up. If everybody wants to just go to their app store and look up Debruyker Charolais, they can download our app. And like you said, we've got all the bulls on there, and we've got information about our operation, and also we've got a link to our Debruyker Charolais Meats website as well. So
Yep.
I
That's
appreciate you saying that, Kerry. Thank you.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Now, am I reading this right? This bull's mom's only 2, and it looks like this bull ratioed 126 on your gain test.
You read that right.
You
Holy
read that right.
That is, and that's out of all these bulls, so or probably maybe the sire group, but holy cow, that is phenomenal. And at 40-centimeter testicles.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no small chicklets there. There's big bulls in Cowtown. So.
That's impressive for darn sure. So
that's excellent bull. So that is lot 148. So
yeah, I have him down as probably one of the most attractive bulls. Maybe have 20 bulls down as real attractive, and he has the look about him.
He's got the look. Yeah. Well, he's got the pedigree to match and the numbers, and there's a full meal deal right there. We ought to name that one too. Let's I'll have to get a little more creative. Huh? We'll call him
BB. BB. Big balls.
Yep, big. There we go. I like that. All right. Hello. About we go to lot 154. It's another tank son.
Yeah, he's just the same type. He's
holy cow.
If you were to put them side by side, you wouldn't see much different. These tank sons. You probably go 20 deep, 30 deep on them, and you're going to find just the same quality of bull.
Right. Look at that. What is it? The 140 average daily gains, 4.36. So he's putting on some weight in that 140. So out of another 2-year-old, it looks like another tank son with just a good moderate birth weight and a high index.
BB number 2.
Number 2, he is.
Big scrolled again.
Yeah, he is. Look at that. He's a very smooth shouldered, right to that front end, awesome hip, and boy, he travels really, really good. He glides along. Boy, he's gonna be a good one. Yeah, he'll cover some cows.
Yeah. Tank usually makes some of the nice small-headed bulls. Real clean sheath, good clean fronted. They're usually pretty smooth shouldered. They're just the right kind of animals, the type we like to raise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a good one. Lot 154. So let's go to lot 156. And here's another beast of a tank calf. that tank name is appropriate for these calves that he's producing, obviously, out of another 2-year-old female. So,
wow.
Yeah. And he's just the same type of bull. When you get behind him, he's one of the stoutest bulls, you'll see. He just carries all of his weight and width. And then on the mom's, the dam's bottom side, that Miss Zen B975 cow.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, I think Zen made some of the best females in the whole Charolais industry. I've talked to guys in Canada, South, and he was gone kind of before people realized how good his daughters were.
That usually happens, doesn't it? I've talked about before, some bulls that are very influential in the breed, and he died at an early age, but or something happened. But yeah, this is a good looking calf. Another 4.28 average daily gain, and he's a January 24th born calf, and he's weighing 1325 right now. So that would be lot 156.
Yeah, and one thing I can say too, sometimes these calving bulls aren't as soft a rib as what these bulls are showing.
Right.
Like this guy here, in the picture in the video, he, that just goes into feedability. Sometimes we got to make them a little more streamlined to maybe get that calving ease in them, but it don't seem like it on these guys. They got some rib in them. So that, little tank for the feed there. So,
Yep.
I know from experience, if you want to gain, you got to be able to eat.
Yeah, amen on that.
Looks like my next 2 lots aren't going to pull up, I don't think, but
really
we can. Looks like I got a circle here. I see, so that must be computer error, but we can still talk about them.
Okay, lot 292.
Lot 292, that's a bull that I have had my eyes on, and I'll tell you what, he's about as powerful and good a bull as we've got in the sale as well. He's out of a new bull, Shazam. you just alluded to it, Carrie. Shazam, we've only got 2 calf crops out of him. The one that's in the sale this year and the ones that's coming on the ground right now. And he passed away before we could get any more off of him. And we're pretty disappointed in that because he looks like he's going to leave a good mark. And I wish we had semen on him because we keep him pretty heavy.
Wow.
This 292 bull, he's probably, Kessler, you go ahead, but explain him a little better, but he's probably about as powerful a bull as there is in the sale. And he'll make some great females, I think.
Well, look at his numbers with the 88 birth weight, 205 adjusted at 939, and his 365 is at 1465. I mean, that's a rate of gain of 4.36. That is insane. That is in 40 scrotal. I mean, what more do you need on the numbers wise? With the look to go.
Well, and like I was saying, I'm sorry to interrupt there, but this guy, besides the performance, I think he's going to leave his mark with some females, because on that bottom side, that Zhivago, that's a really, really good looking bull. He's this Ledger son that we kept out of our herd.
Okay.
And he made some pretty nice females. And then also the Zen on the bottom, like Kessler alluded to. Those Zen daughters are just fantastic, about as good as they can come. So I got high hopes that this guy is going to do a real good job somewhere.
So definitely want to look into the Zen side on your females. It looks like that's the one that's really clicking. So
there are definitely some really, really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this would be out of another first calf effort, huh?
Yeah.
Dam's ages too. Yeah. So this is lot 292, and he's a Shazam. I like that name, Shazam. Yeah. We can call this one Whammy. So
hey, I got it on now. Finally got it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You know, Mitch is a high-tech redneck, and he just came through and got the picture out. So good job, Beaner.
So this bull's got adjusted weaning at a 939. So these bulls up to weaning time, I mean, or are they just running out on some open meadows there with their cows, or what's your guys' process for that?
We've just got some different pastures that we've got them in. And, obviously it is an adjusted weight. And, as well as I do with that 2-year-old, they get a little better adjustment. Mm-hmm. But that's all I can say is they just weaned off real good.
Yeah. Pounds on the ground.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All righty. Let's go on to lot 301. Good job, Mitch. I'm proud of you. Another Shazam. Yeah, I like that name, Shazam. It's easy one to say, easy one to spell.
I don't know if you can spell it.
Does that start with an S? Yeah.
Yeah. You did pronounce it at least, though.
That's good. Look at this: 88 pound birth weight, adjusted 858. Another one's out of his dam is 2 years old, so quicker turnaround genetics here. What's the story behind this boy?
Yeah, he's just. Brett and I both noticed him filming him, and I'm pretty in love with the bull. I don't think you can make him any better. Nose to tail, hoof to top line. He's just, you can't find a fault in the bull. He's just incredible.
I think of all the ones that we've had here, he looks like he's about the biggest ribbed one that we've put up on the picture thing. Look at the belly under this boy. So he's dragging on the ground. He kind of like Mitch did about 4 years ago, but he's lost some weight, but he's looking good. He's bringing sexy back, but this is a good belly dragging bull here.
Yeah.
So belly,
watch this whole video. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a dense made bugger, boy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Super soggy.
You're starting to see some of these cattle get a little shorter rib, but it's adding that capacity, I think, while they're doing that. And this bull will be a good example of that. And for me, that's what I've been kind of trying to do, or buy bulls similar to this on my cows, because some of them got just a little too much stretch. Maybe need a little more of that muscle pattern back into them. And yeah, I like the looks of this guy. Yep. Looks like he'd have a whole feedlot full of steers out of him. You'd be being tall cotton for sure.
Yep, that's a lot.
Carrie, you'd know the show ring better than me, but as far as I'm concerned, if I went on the show circuit, that's the kind of animal I'd love
Yeah.
to see. So
Yep. I definitely, that's the first thing actually, you know what he reminds me of is LT Rio Bravo back in his day. Remember he had that in Rio Blanco, had those big old soggy bellies. This guy's really got that. So I think he could bring that extra pounds and performance on the carcass side, but I think he could pump him out on the show side. So maybe one of them all around bulls. He needs a Shazam.
Yeah. I sent that bull to a friend down in Oklahoma. It was a kind of a show jockey, I call him. And I said, how much semen can a bull like this sell in the show ring? He said, a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look at he's an outcross to anything that was probably ever showed at Denver in the last 2 or 3 years. So, including all the winners, so, that's what I was saying at the beginning of the thing here. You hear all the time from these guys that are trying to just produce show heifers. We need to find the next thing to breed to. No, you guys just need to open your eyes and look around a little bit,
Mm-hmm. Boy, this would have been a fun one to have the pin in 3 at Denver, wouldn't he, Beaner? He'd been a good run. So
yeah. And that's the thing with these Shazams, in all reality, on the final weight or weight per day of age, he's 10 back. That's there's a lot of outliers that guys maybe overlook. Just
100%. Yeah. Well, look up 301 on sale day. Let's go on to the last lot we're going to talk about, which is lot 419. So 419 out of 671. we're just touching a glimpse of it, and he's a sugar daddy. See, I'm impressed. Who came up with that name? Brett, did you come up with sugar daddy?
I'm going to have to take the credit on that one.
Okay. So look at his numbers at 205 adjusted at 943 with the 80-pound birth weight. There's some growth. How about what's the story behind this sugar daddy?
Yeah, Brett might know a little bit more, but I just, he's about as good a bull as you can make. He's deep and stout. When you get behind him, there's a ton of meat when you get behind him. And he's just a real attractive bull, and he's fun to watch walk through the pen.
Yeah.
The sugar daddies, when Sugar Daddy sold a few years back, my friend Joe Goggins was watching the sale, and he said that he cornered me here a little while ago, and he said, "Hey, whatever happened to that bull?" And anyway, we talked about him, and he told me, he said, if I was into the Charolais breed still, that's the kind of bull I'd buy. And I'll tell you, that Sugar Daddy bull's doing a really good job making some males and really putting some attractiveness in cattle and also some body.
Well, this he's got the look to it. We ought to call him Pour Some Sugar on Me. So
I like that. I like that.
We'll just go in and name all your top end bulls next year, huh? Right. It'd be kind of fun. But what an awesome set of, this is just a glimpse, folks, if we're out there, they're listening. This is just a random, let's go pick up 10. But or 8, whatever it was. And what a phenomenal set. And you can really see the consistency in the program that they bring forward in Montana. So before we close out, Brett, let's talk about the brands. And I always like to talk about, how your brand got started. I may have mentioned before, like I run the 7 half box brand, which was my grandfather who played professional baseball. His number was the 7 when he played it for St. Louis. So I believe you're running 4 different brands, it looks like, from what I can tell. And what is the story behind the brand?
My mom and dad set us up when we were young to not be a corporation. And so we're all individuals. We all have our own cows. We all have our own land. However, we work together and we operate together and help each other out, both farming and ranching. And so with that setup, we all have our own brands to signify the ownership of our own cows.
Wow.
When my dad got a little older and retired, we decided as a family, rather than operate under the bulls, at least under all those brands, we decided to use one brand, which is the quarter circle D on the right hip. And now as a family, that's the brand that signifies Debruyker Charolais. and that's the brand we put on every one of our bull calves. On
Oh,
our cows, we put our individual brands on though.
okay, right on.
Yeah.
And what are those brands?
You know, we've got my brother Mark, who's a quarter circle MD.
Mm-hmm.
We've got myself, that's a quarter circle 7D. And why I chose the 7 was just because that was the best looking brand I could find when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And my sister Jackie is a D-Bar J. My brother-in-law Joe Campbell and his wife Kathy are Bar 2C, and for 2 Campbells. And then my nephew Kessler has quarter circle 3M with his brother. And there's more of them in the family too. Like
really?
my nephew Kaler, he has a /2X. The one thing we've tried to do is keep them all on the right hip, so that it, you know, signifies some semblance of uniformity in that way too.
That's awesome. Well, there's always a story behind the brand, and it's always fun to hear that. So have you tried freeze branding a white one yet to see what it looks like?
I haven't done that yet. We might have to try it.
I've always been curious. I didn't know if it'd come out pink or what it would do, but I've always been curious. So
somebody told me one time, "Oh, it works great," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't think you did that."
I'm just dying to try it.
I think what I've heard is it actually resembles some like kind of just a regular brand on the white cattle, just because their
really?
skin type. Yeah,
Oh.
it just kind of makes the hair, you know, a different funniness
Or pigment or something. You know,
yeah.
I like a freeze brand on a black calf, but it looks sharp. But I was just curious. I'm like, maybe we can be a trendsetter and start freeze branding some white ones and see what happens. But
so if only it would turn their hair black on the when you do that, or
oh geez,
right. Tattoo, maybe just a big old tattoo freeze brand type thing.
Yeah, no, that'd be cool.
Do you guys sell any females, or what do you guys do for that end of the
program? So thanks for that question, Mitch. We don't sell females in the bull sale. We will sell them private treaty. That's not really our bread and butter. Is selling bulls is our bread and butter. But when people call up and if they want to make a deal on some females, we can typically find a way to make it work. Honestly, if we are going to sell some females, we'd kind of like to do okay on them, just because we feel like we've bred the genetics into them, and they typically go out and do a pretty nice job for guys most places. So
yeah,
sure,
definitely. So the temperaments on these bulls, obviously you got a lot of bulls in a big area. So, but looking at them through the video, they don't look like they want to run you over or anything. I guess, do you grade them in a temperament type of way if they, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, when we're videoing them, I try to take a note down, and Kessler tries to take a note down on the ones that are a bit goofy.
Yeah,
they're not that often, but you know, when you have 672 bulls, you're going to have some. That's just
it's going to happen. Oh yeah.
But, you know, overall, I think the temperament on our bulls are pretty good. And I think they'll go work at most places, with just a handful of outliers that we try to let people know that they should probably go to fairly big country.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, what an awesome operation that you guys got, and best of luck to you on your bull sale on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and it is going to happen on April 1st. So I promise I won't pull any jokes on you. I might do something to Mitch, but I won't do anything to you guys. So Mitch is on my target. So
just because I beat you in the basketball thing,
I know. We'll have to figure something else to bet on, but with that, let's do a little review. So Superior Auctions on RFD TV, 11 p.m. Mountain Time. 11 a.m. 11 a.m. Yeah, not 11 p.m. Yeah, wow. I'm already thinking ahead. 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So you got you thinking, Mitch. I'm glad you're paying attention. But 11 a.m. Mountain Time. So get right on there, and you can come view the bulls at the sales yard in Great Falls, Montana. Correct?
Yes.
So if there's any other details, go to the Debruyker app on your phone, look it up, and look at all the fun stuff, the videos, and look these boys up. And don't forget, pour some sugar on me, lot 419. So maybe he'll be, or Fred, lot 111, or Led, lot 113. So, so you can tell your auctioneer that you had a little bit of fun naming some bulls on the Charolais Chatter podcast. So
we'll do it.
Again, thank you for what you guys do for the Charolais breed. It's an honor to have you on Charolais Chatter with us. And maybe we'll see you down the road. So
Well, thank you. It's our honor to be invited to be on. We really appreciate it. Thank you,
Yep.
guys.
well, until next time, see you next trip.
Thank you, guys.
Sometimes good boys act like bad boys. Don't take offense, deep down we're all little boys. It's just part of our DNA. A 7-day road trip, hanging out with friends, nothing but fun, adventures, and drinking. Come on, y'all.